Hey everybody, long time no video as always. I just kind of seem to become a stranger and disappear. I seem to do this thing where I just kind of vanish and then I pop back up now and again. Although this time I have a good reason. My phone was broken for like the last 2 weeks. It's kind of like I went on a journey back in time because I went a full 2 weeks without a phone. So I was living that 90s life. You've been dreaming, sleeping for years with the clear since the late 1990s. Just like we all used to before cell phones have dominated our entire life structure and forcibly taken one of our hands. Anyway, all really lame jokes aside, I noticed that often I get a notification on my YouTube here for Bumps in the Night, and it's usually somebody referring to the video that I made in 2021 where essentially I went over like the price points of Goosebumps and the values and like just kind of trying to get you into collecting. So unfortunately, I was still, I want to say novice, or at least very amateur at that point when it came to making videos. My volume control was really shitty, and I really hadn't reformed the skill yet, but doing a lot of the Horror Burrito and other projects, I have come a long way from there. I've also upgraded equipment, which helps, and I've learned how to mix volume better. So I don't usually do reboots, but today I'm going to do a reboot of like one of my more famous videos, which is like the Goosebumps price guide. So for starters here, every year prices do flux a bit, unfortunately, with inflation and the series now being over 30 years old. Price on some of the books have gone up to the point where it's almost ridiculous. And back when I started collecting in 2017, or I guess recollecting you could say, most of the books, if you were lucky, you could snatch one up between 3 and some change and 8 and some change. That was about the standard gap, $3 to $8 per book. So with over 200 something books, it was like, okay, it's rough, but not terrible. But now, unfortunately, due to whether it be collectors or just scarcity and them resurfacing and going to new hands, pick one, choose one. A lot of these books are way more expensive now, so I'm going to kind of give you a list of what I think you should be keeping your eyes out for anytime you go thrifting. Whether you're hunting for your collection or not, whether this is to help someone else out, or whether you're just one of those resellers, which I'm not hating on you if you are. Everyone's got to make a living. I'm not saying I support scalping. However, I have flipped a series multiple times. I think I've sold at least 4 or 5 full collections. Now, of course, I don't like price scalp. They've never been higher than like $300 for a full set, which is not terrible, considering some of the books on this list are pricey. So, you know, we can sit here all day and debate, pick and choose whether we agree with how people resell or not, but the point of the matter is you're here to learn about collecting and how to price out these books. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So in the span of the original 62, the later prints are obviously the rarer ones. They stopped printing the original series at book 62, and then they moved on to the 2000 series. So a lot of books didn't get reprints, specifically towards the end of that series. So the first one from the original 62 I want to talk about is Werewolf Skin. Werewolf Skin was number 60. It was the third last book printed in the series. It only got 1 or 2 printings max, I think. I'd have to do more research on that specifically. This book, out of the 3, is the least expensive of the expensive books. However, it can still range crazy prices. Right now, if you were to want to buy a copy at this very moment, I checked Thrift Books before I made this video, and they have it up here for $25, which seems kind of steep because it's a chapter book. It's a novella, and they want $25 because it's an antique. When I was buying these and flipping them for like trade and selling sets, I would usually score them between 14 and $8. So personally, I wouldn't pay more than 10. But again, if you're building a collection, you're just gonna have to watch it honestly. But these ones sell for about 25. So if you're out thrifting, if you're out going to be like a swap meet or a flea market or a library sale, wherever, and you happen to see this, grab it, because it never got a reprint. This is the one and only version of it, for now at least. So next, for the original 62, we're going to go over Monster Blood 4. It was the last one printed in the original 62. After this, they talk about the 2000 series, which if you look closely, there is a buffer on the back for it. Monster Blood 4 comes and goes with price points. Standard price point I ever paid for it was same deal. I'd pay between $7 and $18 personally. I think that's where the value should lie. Unfortunately for you, if you were to go try to pick up one of these right now to get an American print like this, you'd pay around $37 for it. Unfortunately, because it's an older book, it's classified as a collectible, so Thrift Books charges more for those if you're going to buy it on there. However, they do have a UK print, which and it has like a part of the picture and it's yellow. That's like $9 right now. So if you just want the book to say you have the book and you don't care about being like a hardcore collector and having all the spines and stuff match, then it's going to be the cheapest of the three. But if you want the American version, you'll be paying more. And the most expensive book in the original 62, of course, is number 61, I Live in Your Basement. It was Inception before Inception, if that makes sense. It's a dream within a dream. This book is crazy expensive, in my opinion. Even when I was collecting in 2017, this one was the most expensive. Now, luckily, as a kid, I had this one, and I kept it, so I never had to buy it. But looking at the value on it, like, it was $20 back then, maybe 30. Now, unfortunately, you're looking at $43.09. That's on thrift books. So, of course, you might get lucky and find one a little cheaper on eBay. And the thrift book prices usually value between like 25 and, if you're lucky, 18, 17. I've never pulled one cheaper than that. Whenever I build a collection to sell the original 62, I always groan when I get to this book. However, the collection I'm building now, I got lucky. My mom and stepdad were on vacation visiting my brother, and they came across a copy of this out in the wild, which I think is just amazing. So if you happen to come across any of the three books I just mentioned, if you see them out in the wild and they're under $15, you should buy them. You can gift them, you can trade them. You can trade one of these right here, depending on the right collector, if this is the one they need for their set and they're buying stuff as they go. I've traded one of these before for probably 15, 20 bucks, which, again, it just depends on the person. Like I said, I wouldn't personally pay more than 20 for this one. I still think that's really steep for a novella. But again, it's the hardest one to come across, and because it wasn't like a very popular book in the series, it wasn't up for the reprints, because they did reprint this series a couple years after they stopped making them. And a couple of the books that didn't do great didn't get reprints, and this was one of them. So if you have this, count yourself lucky. They're hard to find. Now, a couple honorable mentions from the original 62 I want to go over here is Deep Trouble 2, number 58. Now, this one is not one of the most expensive books, but considering it's over $15 to me, that's just like ghastly expensive for a children's book. Right now, this one's sitting at $18.09. However, the price does fluctuate. I've pulled this off thrift books before for like $6, $7, and like that's a fair price in my point. But unfortunately, because you're getting up towards the end of the series, less copies were printed. This did get a 2000s reprint with a different cover. They did go up to 59, because 60 onward did not get reprints, but this one did. So if you want it in your series and you want the art, and you don't care about the slime spine, then you can get it for like $5, $6. But personally, if you want the American original print, it's going to cost you $18.09. Another honorable mention would be My Best Friend's Invisible. This one's number 57. It also got a reprint. The price point for here fluctuates. This one's not terribly steep. It's $11.39 right now on thrift books. However, it can go up. I've seen it sitting at $17 before, so it's not the rarest in the original 62, but anything in those high 50s, low 60s, that's where it's going to really run you. And last but not least, The Curse of Camp Cold Lake. Now, this one fluctuates as well. This one fluctuates as well. Out of the entire lot I've shown you so far, this is the cheapest. Right now, this exact copy is running for $9.59. But I've also seen this up in the teens, up to $18 before, depending. Like the other ones I just showed you recently, anything before 60 did get a reprint except for Phantom of the Opera. So this has a reprint with a more like a pink cover. Personally, I think this cover looks better and the colors set well with it. So realistically, if you're going to collect the series or you're just a person who flips, I would pick up anything in the 40s and up, because everything else is easy peasy to find. But that's just, it's me. That's my personal rule of thumb. So that covers the original 62. So moving on to the Goosebumps Give Yourself series, I'd say if you're a collector or somebody who looks to flip and trade, anything black spine, that's what they call them. The series originally started out colorful like the original 62, and then at number 30 they transitioned into this new color scheme where the spines were black and the text was all spooky with like, it was blacked out with a green outline of the slime. So anything 30 and onward is going to be more pricey because they're black spines, and you'll see in trade groups like on the Swap and Shop and such, people talk about them as such. Usually it's a black spine for a black spine trade, or if you want a black spine, you're going to be trading like 4 or 5 regular books that are kind of increased value. It's a whole thing. We could do economics all day on it, but let's just get to the price point. So this is one of the harder ones to come by, and which is weird because it's in the middle of the series. Well, it's towards the end of the series run for the Give Yourself. However, number 30 here, Your Plant Food, runs for $38.99. Crazy expensive, right? I don't even know why. It just does. And it's one of those few ones that you have to watch out for. I think I failed to mention this prior, but there are certain books that there are fakes or reproductions of. A couple of the Give Yourself, as well as 60, 61, and 62, the original series, have India reprints where they're reprinted in their lesser quality, but they have the original covers and such. You'll know they're fake usually due to the ISBN number inside the cover, as well as most of the time they come new, wrapped in plastic. None of R.L. Stine's books came wrapped in plastic unless you bought a special edition at a book fair, and it usually was a couple books bound together with a pin or a fake spider or something. So if you see a book online you're shopping and it says like new and it's got plastic wrap, I would avoid it. That is definitely a reprint. That is definitely fake. The next one is going to be number 31 in the Give Yourself series. It's The Werewolf of Twisted Tree Lodge. And this one runs from... This one's selling for about $29.59 right now on Thrift Books. This is like the second or third copy I've come across. I've actually traded for one before, as well as, I bought one back in the day. However, like I said, anything with the black spines, you're going to be paying around $30 and up. They're really rare they go under. I think there's like one in the 18-ish mark. But essentially, if you see a black spine in public when you're shopping and it's under $15, I would pick it up. You could probably just flip it on eBay. Number 32 in the Give Yourself series coming up here. It's Only a Nightmare. This one's actually not even available on Thrift Books right now. It's one of the ones that's sold out. There's not many sold out. Almost the entire series is on Thrift Books, but this one is. So I went on eBay just to price it out. They're selling for about 20-ish, high teens, low 20s, which is a decent price for a Give Yourself. So, again, buy at your own beware, but just understand these are just expensive. And as time goes on, they're collector's editions at this point. They're collector items at this point, so they're only going to get more expensive. Next up on the list is number 33. It came from the internet. This one is $39.95 on Thrift Books right now. That isn't crazy high. It's one of the highest Give Yourself books. That is not a special edition. And yes, you heard that right. There are special editions, which will come later in the video. However, it's insane to me how expensive this one is. I think I paid maybe $5 to $8 for this when I bought my copy. But like I said, keep your eyes out. Anything black spine you're going to want to buy if it's cheaper than $15. Continuing our list. This one didn't come up unless I typed it by title. I searched Thrift Books by the number and it wouldn't pop up. This is Give Yourself number 34, The Elevator to Nowhere. And this one's running for about $35 and some change. So, like I said, they're just going to get more expensive as we go. Next up, we have number 35, Hocus Pocus Horror. This one's running for about $35 as well. It's funny. Out of every Give Yourself book here, this one and Twisted Tree Lodge Werewolf were the easiest ones for me to come across. This was my second copy, I think, or third copy. I've ended up trading one or two. And I did not pay anywhere near what that price point is on screen. So next up, this one's pretty controversial if you ask me. It is the most expensive Give Yourself book that's not a special edition. Out of every book on this list that it's outside of the 8 special editions, this is the most expensive book. And I don't understand why, because it's not the very last one printed in the set. Maybe it just didn't sell well. It is number 36, Ship of Ghouls. My original copy I had was one of those Indian reprints I mentioned before. So one day I did come across the real deal, and I picked it up, and I swapped mine out, and I actually donated my copy to Brandon Syme. I don't know if he still has it specifically, but I do know I got rid of my copy. So I think I gave it to him. Ship of Ghouls right now, a legit copy, is going to cost you $61 and some change. Insanity. I don't know why. Maybe if you're a collector on a budget and you're just looking to have one on the shelf, you don't care about authenticity, then grab the Indian reprint. Because those go for like $11 to $20. But a legit copy on Thrift Books is going to run you $60. I didn't even waste my time checking eBay. I saw that price and I was just like, no. Next up on the list is Give Yourself number 37, Escape from the House of Horrors. And I lied to you. I thought Ship of Ghouls was the most expensive at $61 and some change. No, this is $67. This is crazy. I sold a lot with this like 3 months ago. Maybe 4 months ago. I sold a lot on eBay with this book in the lot. And I think it went for like 30 or 40 bucks. They didn't pay a lot. They got a good deal. Because they didn't just get this. They got like another 10, 12 books. But still, this was the point that sold a lot. If you come across this from the wild, snatch it up. Because it's the most expensive, not special edition as of right now. Next up is number 38. And with a refreshing twist for once, it's Into the Twister of Terror. This one's only running for $18 and some change. This is the lowest priced book in the entire Give Yourself series, which again I find strange considering it's not the very last print and it's not one of the first prints. It's even a black spine. So, I don't know why it's so cheap, but it is. Number 39, this one's called Scary Birthday to You. This one runs around $38.89, which is crazy. I actually found one of these in the wild before. I went to a used bookstore near me and I found it just sitting on the shelf. And I was like, oh, no way. I ended up trading it for a couple of other books, but not important. This one's towards the end of the run, so it explains why it's so expensive. So if you happen to come across this one, definitely pick it up. Next up is number 40, Zombie School. And this one's actually sold out on thrift books as well right now. So I had to go to eBay for a price point, and they're looking like 25-ish, give or take. So, but it's crazy that some of the books before it are more expensive. Don't know why. And I'm pretty sure it had a sequel called Why I Quit Zombie School, which was in like the Hall of Horrors. I think it was in the Hall of Horrors. It was in one of the series after Horrorland. That's what I know. Next up is number 41, Danger Time. And this one's only sitting at $9 and change. It's crazy to me. It's the second last print of the Give Yourself set, excluding the special editions, and it's only $9. So it's even cheaper than Twister of Terror. I guess it wasn't that great. I mean, look at that clock. I don't even have words. It almost looks like some of that shit that's been generated lately, the AI Goosebumps, which we'll get to that at some point later on. And then we have number 42, All Day Nightmare. And the All Day Nightmare is going to run you about $37 and some change. So if you see it cheaper on eBay, which again, I get a lot of my books from thrift books, I recommend scouting this stuff on eBay. Sometimes people sell stuff and either they don't know what they have, or they don't care and they're not going to scalp, they just want to get rid of shit. So sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll get a good deal. However, this one is one of the more expensive ones, so keep that in mind when hunting. Alright, so this one, it's debatable whether it's even a Goosebumps book. The name Goosebumps is on it. However, it's from the play Goosebumps Live on Stage. It's called Screams in the Night. What's crazy about Screams in the Night is, out of all these books, it's like the thinnest one. It's like those R.L. Stine books that didn't make it into the Goosebumps 2000 series. This thing is sitting at $45. $45! Now, it does say that it's a special limited edition on the book. However, I don't think that justifies the price. If you're a hardcore collector, this technically doesn't even have a number, so either you pick it up because you like Stein and Goosebumps, or you don't, and that's okay. But this one, when I bought it, it was $7. That was 2017. It's one of the first ones I picked up. So, keep that in mind. If you can get it under 20, I'd say you're getting a good deal on it, personally. Alright, so moving forward, we're going to go into the special editions. So moving forward, we're going into the special editions of the Give Yourself Goosebumps series. These were like an additional 8 they printed, and each one says something about special edition on the front, like power play. Yeah, they all say special edition up here where the slime's at. So anyway, this one's called Into the Jaws of Doom. And Into the Jaws of Doom costs about $28. What's interesting to me about the special editions here is they came out in a different order. Like this one says in the back of the book, prepare for the next exciting story in the Give Yourself series, Alone in Snakebite Canyon. That's not one I covered here because that's in the 20s, and they started printing Black Spines at 23. So it's just interesting to me. So this one came out. They weren't even at the 30s yet when this one came out, but this one's running for about 28. So next up in our series is the Give Yourself Special Edition number 2, Return to Terror Tower. And to me, when I found out about this one, I was super hyped because I didn't know there was a sequel. As a kid, I knew nothing about this. You would be extremely jealous to see how much I picked my copy up for, but right now these things run for about $51. So jump on these if you can, because this is one of the more expensive ones. Not many of them break the $50 crest, but this is one of them. Next up, we have Give Yourself Special Edition number 3, Trapped in the Circus of Fear. Now this one came out before Your Plant Food, and this one runs for about $25. This is one of the few ones that was also sold out on thrift books. I had to go to eBay for it. So there was a couple listings. They're about $20, $25-ish. Next up is Give Yourself Special Edition number 4, One Night in Pain House. This one's running for about $38 and some change. It's a really lame cover, personally. I don't think that Pomeranian's scary, but it's one of the expensive ones because it's a special edition. It came out right before the Twisted Tree Lodge werewolf book, so keep that in mind with where we've been at, facsimile-wise. Next up is Give Yourself Special Edition number 5, Curse of the Cave Creatures. This one came out right before it came from the internet, and if you wanted to pick up a copy of this right now today, it runs for $46.89. One of the more expensive ones. It's a special edition. It's a later print. Like I said, this stuff that's getting towards the end of the era, it's going to cost you a little bit more than an arm and a leg at this point. Next up is Give Yourself Special Edition number 6, Revenge of the Body Squeezers. Yes, there is a third Body Squeezers book. So this ties into the 2000 series. It kind of helps you put your mind at where we're at with the whole series in general. This one came out right before Escape from Horror House. This book's going to run you about $56. This one was always kind of tough for me to get when I was doing my collection and hunting. Once or twice it slipped through my fingers. I don't think I paid more than $10 for it. It's considered a collectible, which sucks. I mean, it's kind of cool. Yeah, I got a collectible, but because it's a collectible, they're more expensive, if that makes sense. So you're looking at about in your 50s for this one as well, unfortunately. So next up, we're going to talk about the most expensive Goosebumps book that exists to date. And that would be Goosebumps Special Edition Give Yourself number 7, Trick or Trapped. Now, Trick or Trapped came out right before Zombie School, so that tells you how late in the series we were. And this book for some reason is harder to get a hold of than the one that came after it. This book is sitting at the $135 mark right now. And I have seen this book in the last 5 years sell anywhere between $60 to $200 and some change. I don't know why. And this one is another one of the ones that suffers from Indian reprints. So you got to be really careful when it comes to hunting down a copy of these. Like I said, you can check by the ISBN number. I've only come across 2 of these. At one point in time, I did have both in my hands. I had my copy, and then I picked a second copy up on Thrift Books, and I picked it up in 2020. I got it for, I'm not kidding when I say dollars on the dime. I think I paid $8 for it. It was like 2 in the morning. I got the ping. I was up. I was like, holy shit. I grabbed it. And I actually traded it to Canada's #1 Goosebumps fan. Traded it to her for some awesome books back, sent it on over the line straight to Canada, and it went to a good home. So I'm glad. And, while I'm here, shout out to Canada's #1 Goosebumps fan. If you guys enjoy my content, go check out theirs. A couple collectors I know. Like, out of all the collectors I know in the Goosebumps ring, Goosebumps Completionist got the best deal on this. He picked a copy of this up for 50 cents. He got it on, like, Macari or Let Go. I can't remember what it was, but he got it for 50 cents. So that man is the king among kings when it comes to scoring deals like that. A good friend of mine, Josh Reviews Inks, which I think he goes by in Otaku Life for Me now, he paid $80 for his. I thought that was a lot at the time, but technically he got a good deal. And then, of course, a good friend of mine, Brandon Syme, also known as Dead Shock Studios, he picked his copy up for $30 in half-price books, and he still got a good deal. So, yeah, this one, this is your motherlode. This is your gem. This is the one you're after. This is the book of books you're hunting. Last but not least, in the Give Yourself Special Editions, we have Goosebumps Special Edition number 8, Weekend at Poison Lake. This one came out right before Danger Time, so towards the very end of the series. And it only runs for about $31. I bought this book twice, and both times I've paid under $10. So it fluctuates. Out of all of them, you might have a price just fluctuate from time to time. But as of right now, while I'm making this video, it's $31. So something to keep in mind when hunting. Now, these next books I'm going to show you, they don't have a price point per se, because unfortunately, it really is up to the seller what they charge you for these. But these are the only other rarities I can show you when hunting Goosebumps, and it's something I'm going to recommend all you start doing if you are hunting Goosebumps on the regular. So with these books, they can be any book. It doesn't matter what printing, it doesn't matter what series, it can be any book. There's only one thing you're looking for when it comes to books like this, and that's when you open it up, you're looking for a signature. Now, if you're super lucky, you'll get one like this, which is not only signed, but it's a first print, which you can see right here. And I'm going to do a whole video on first prints if you guys have more questions about that. I've had someone mention it before, and it's on my to-do list. Now that I have like a workstation set up in my game room, it's coming, I promise. So, autographed books. Every single time I go out, doesn't matter where I'm hunting, if I find Goosebumps, I will flip through each and every book because I want to see if signed did. And if not signed, there's one other signature that's worth money in these books. So I guess it's me kind of flexing. I'm not, trying to make anyone jealous or sad, but I do have not one but 2 books signed by Stein. And the first one I just showed you was a gift. The second one was a complete fluke, and I just got lucky. So yeah, I've got him signature in blood red, which in a 2000s book, and it's also my first print if I'm not mistaken. As I almost drop the gem. Yes, it's a first print as well. So that's what you're really hoping for. Not only a signature, but a first print. And then, so I've got 2 books signed by Stein. The other signature you can be looking for is a book that has been signed by the artist himself, Tim Jacobus. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any books signed by both of them, but maybe someday I will. So yes, you're looking for books that, like I said, it can be any book. I've seen books up to like the newest series, like I think Attack of the Puppet People or Night of the Attack of the Puppet People. Any book can be signed by Stein, can be worth more than a standard book. So you really just have to look. I recommend anytime you go out, just start flipping through and you'll know that signature. Like I said, you might get lucky and get one. Now this one was a gift. A friend of mine, He used to go by Zach Baby TV. Now he goes by Campfire Tales. He actually went and met Tim Jacobus, and he got this signed for me. So big shout out to you. Appreciate you, bro. That's pretty much the price guide for 2023, I guess. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and if not, thanks for sticking around and just hanging out. I always enjoy talking about Goosebumps. It's a passion of mine. So with that being said, get out there and go hunting. And if you have questions, drop me a line on here. I'm happy to respond. Like I said, I still have stuff coming, so look forward to the first print and how to hunt those down guide for you like super collectors out there, or you getting into it and you're not sure and you decide, I want a full run of first prints, because why not? I'll show you guys how to determine that. And then I've got this story that everything got pushed back when my phone got busted, but I've got this story that's almost done. I'm kind of scripting it because I don't want it to come off as like I'm talking shit or taboo, but there's been an interesting event that happened in the Goosebumps community a couple months ago, and I'm a little late to the game now, but I feel like it's definitely worth documenting. So stay tuned with me, and at some point that will come out. I promise. It's just life's been busy, and, working 2 jobs, it'd be like that, guys. In this economy, come on. Thanks for stopping by, and if you haven't subscribed, maybe consider doing so. Clicking that button doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me out. It helps me to realize that people are interested in what I do, and even though this isn't, it's my main channel, funny enough, but even though it's not my main focus, I still enjoy making content for this channel. I have another channel. I just don't want to say what it is. I don't want to link the two. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's doing its own thing. It's doing really good. I just don't want to be known for both. Maybe when the time comes, we get enough subs on the other one, I'll reveal that I'm that channel's owner / main voice. If I get enough subs at some point, maybe I'll do like a face reveal. Like, haha, it was me all along. But for now, if you know, you know. And if you don't, you don't. With that being said, remember, dear viewers, you never know what goes bump in the night.